Alright, come join Kyle, John and David as they go through what's on the playlist, find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest, in and out points, no celebs and the gossip, back in time where we talk about the big M's, coming attractions, what the cue, quick checks, who'll be laughing, you abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Dual Redundancy, the only podcast we hear all the latest in television, entertainment news, and too many else with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and the third one is
Kyle Bridger, and I'm going to dip into some lore here, so I don't know if I'm going to pronounce these right, but I would say that I am the Caraxes to John's Sea Smoke to Dave's Vagar. He's the big bad one. Chomp, chomp.
what went along. This is the House of the Dragons tonight. We're talking about the dragons on the show. The dragons are here in the building. And that's really all there is to really talk about with that season of House of the Dragon, because I don't know what else happened with any of the actual cast at all, if we even moved anywhere. I think there was more action with those dragons in those battles than what we got in the entire season of season 2. But we'll talk about it. We'll get there in a bit. And we know that show ended on HBO. We got another show on HBO that just came out, starting it up, season 3, Industry. We're going to break that down as well. We have Coming Attraction. We got this first segment as well. John, what is it?
In and Out points.
In or the out. In or the out. In, out, in, out, in, out, in or the out.
This is In and Out points. We are going to talk about D23. The last podcast we discussed news from Comic-Con. But since then, we've gotten news from D23, which is kind of like Disney's version of Comic-Con. It's the ultimate Disney fan event. And we'll go through it. They talk about everything from theme parks to the TV shows, Disney Plus, but really I want to focus on some of the movies that they announced. We'll show a list of projects. So here's a visual of the posters, what is coming out, to see if anything jumps out, excites you at all. John, you're looking at this list. What's something that's, I gotta see that?
Wait, hang on. They're remaking some of these, or are these sequels?
I mean, there's a lot of numbers.
Lilo
and Stitch doesn't have a number. Snow White doesn't have a number.
Those are some.
Mufasa doesn't have a number.
Those are some live action.
Oh no!
Live action Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah. So I think So Lilo, I think, is real, like us, but then Stitch will be computer animated, like kind of like the Lion King, like Mufasa, which is a prequel to the 2019 Lion King live action remake. It's just, we could start off with Lilo and Stitch. Why are we doing this when Stitch is still going to be CGI? Like so Mufasa silly. In the Lion King CGI. It's like, these are just animated, a different version of an animated film. It's just the same thing again.
Yeah. I think they're just, they have these creations at theme parks of probably Lilo and Stitch, and they got to repackage that material again. So we got to repackage it, repurpose it for a new generation. We got to find a way to make money from it. It's IP that they have or whatever, and they want to make the most of it, I guess. But they used to be able to do this with the Disney Vault. We could bring back the old movie and make it new again. But now with everything new, they got to come out with something that's probably going to be terrible.
Yeah, like the Lion King, sure, it made like $1 billion. It was successful. Yes, I know, but there was just no creativity at all in that. Like, it was so lifeless, even though if it was like real. I'm doing a lot of parentheses or quotations tonight, for the audio listeners of the podcast. It just was so soulless, and it's not even the 2D animation from back in the day had more character and more life
Mhm.
than that version did all these years later. And yeah, you look
Mhm.
at these projects and it's like Zootopia 2, Freaky Friday 2, Frozen 3, Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5. It's just like, what are we even doing here?
Yeah.
Like these, like there's just one original film here on this list, Elio.
Mhm.
The rest are sequels and franchises and prequels, and it's just
Mhm.
it's just a mess. And I remember back in the day, like I feel like Pixar would only do a sequel when they had like a story to tell, and it would be like these long gaps in between. And maybe
Mhm.
you get a sequel, but then like you get like five originals, and then you get like maybe one sequel, and then like six originals. So it's like now it's just like I mean sequel, 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 original, sequel, 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 sequel. It's just the opposite. It's the
Taking
inverse.
yeah, taking no more chances anymore.
Mhm.
Everyone's got to make money. Um, yeah, with Toy Story 5, I don't even know if I remember watching Toy Story 4 because it's like what are we doing at this point? Why? Why are we going to 5?
Like three was a
Um,
great ending. Four was like, hey, it's a good epilogue. Not
yeah.
as good as three, but hey, it was good. It was still good. But it's like again, like leave it alone. Don't tarnish the brand. And I saw like I
Mhm.
think Toy Story 5 is gonna be like taking on like pretty much like the kids that are distracted by te electronics and technology. There's okay,
Mhm.
that might be something there, but also that's gonna be really sad. Also, like the way Toy Story 4 ends, spoiler. I'm pretty sure like Bo Peep and like Woody are like separated from toys. They're off living their own life with another kid or another whatever
Mhm.
by themselves. It's like they're just gonna come back, a homecoming. Like it just seems like let them live their life. Move on. We all need to move on.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We got Avatar 3 here, Fire and Ash. That's the new one. We went from the Way of Water to Fire and Ash.
And
What's the release date on that?
I I
2055?
I think it's supposed to be next year, but like again,
Yeah, okay.
we'll see. But
and they're
uh
trying to bring back Fantastic Four. I remember when that first one came out, it was a massive flop. So unless they put some
well,
marketing toward that, I
I'd say
think
that
it's
they had the first one with Chris Evans. I think they did a
yes.
sequel to it, but then they did the one with Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan. That was a
Oh my
real train
God.
wreck. And now
So
we're gonna
what are
do it
we
again
doing? Why are we doing it again?
because it
Eh,
has to feed into Secret Wars, Doomsday, whatever those things are, and the 8 Disney Plus shows that they have lined up.
Mm,
It has to hit because there's so much riding on this like ladder of, a domino.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also
What's
see they have a Mandalorian and Gogru. Is that
Yeah.
a TV show or is that a
It's a
movie?
movie.
Oh, so now they're expanding that universe into movies.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. And there's
yeah.
gonna be a new Captain America. Uh yeah, Tron 3, Moana 2. I believe Moana 2 is an addition to the Moana live action that they are making with
Oh
The
my
Rock playing
gosh.
the character he voices in these. It's just like enough, enough.
Yeah, too much.
Oh my God.
And we're gonna get several more Avatar movies
Oh yeah.
probably, which kind of encapsulate what you were talking about. Is like the last movie, it was just like, yeah, okay. You spent so much time on this, and it's just like,
It made
okay,
so much money, but like
yeah,
I will say this, I'll beat this drum. It can make all that money. What's the cultural significance of that film?
yeah, yeah,
Name a character from that film right now.
mm-hmm,
Like I
yeah,
can't. I
yeah,
just can't. It's just
yeah,
it's in one and like in one ear out the other. But
yeah, mm-hmm.
um oh well. I got another one to talk about here. We're talking about all these movies. Eventually they'll end up on Disney Plus. But be very careful about signing up for Disney Plus if you haven't already, because
Oh, geez.
Disney's asking a Florida court to dismiss a lawsuit brought against it by Jeffrey Piccolo, the husband of a woman who suffered a fatal allergic reaction after eating at an Irish pub in Disney Springs in Orlando this past October. The reason? Well, the company argues that Piccolo had agreed to settle any lawsuits against Disney out of court through the arbitration process when he signed up for a 1 month trial of Disney Plus in 2019 and acknowledged that he reviewed the fine print. Quote, the terms of use, which were provided with the subscriber agreement, include a binding arbitration clause. The first page of the subscriber agreement states in all capital letters that any dispute between you and us except for small claims, is subject to a class action waiver and must be resolved by individual binding arbitration. So, John, because you have watched Obi-Wan Kenobi for this podcast, Disney can burn down your house. It can kidnap your dog. Like, it can do
Oh.
whatever the hell they want.
If that I signed up for an account.
Oh,
did I watch it on somebody else's account? Oh, who knows?
we screwed them over, that's for sure. So what do we think about this? Obviously, the first part is a sad story for this couple, but we just have to talk about the absurdity.
Well, it's crazy,
Like-
but apparently they try and do like big companies like this are always getting sued, so they try and use stuff like this all the time. And it's crazy. I was even thinking, how could they even apply this? And apparently arbitration isn't limited to the scope of the product. So, which is a crazy legal loophole. That's insane. So because we didn't read this 43-page terms of service means that they are like exempt from any legal liability. It's
for the entire company,
weird.
because it's like one thing, like if you went to the restaurant and you signed a document saying like, hey, like, you know, if you have an allergic reaction here, it's on you.
Yeah.
But like, that's not this. This is like you were on their streaming service. This sounds like something from like The Boys or with Vought, that corporation. It's like, because you watched this one thing 4 years ago at home, when you go into our theme park, we don't like it. There's no liability. We can do whatever the hell we want to you. And it's like, well, wait a minute. And like, because this company is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it's like, I don't know, they're part of ESPN, and now maybe they'll have something with a sporting event. Oh, you went to an NFL football game in 2017, so that means like if you know, your house burns down, you know, because we set a fire to it in 2025, oh well.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
just
a
like,
tough one.
Yeah.
I could see this being something that could possibly be fought in court, but the resources that Disney has is for all
vast.
intents and purposes infinite.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? You'd have to have somebody who's willing to either put down a lot of money to try and fight this for the next 10, 15 years maybe, or, you know, accept the fate that has been served to you, unfortunately. And it's kind of crappy that you're stuck in that situation, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it stinks, man. There's no other way to put it. Just that stinks. And it's just a legal behemoth. It's a lot of times, often what's right isn't always the legalese part of it, which is the annoying thing, you know?
Yeah.
But we're all subject to this apparently, because we are all signing those terms of service agreements, you know? So it's crazy.
Yeah, just you check it off. You don't even know what you're signing up for. I mean, I think that was like a Black Mirror episode of who knows what we're all actually signing up for. But I mean, that's gonna be one legal battle, and here's another one possibly coming. Involves Joaquin Phoenix. He's exited Todd Haynes' planned romantic drama just 5 days before filming was set to begin in Mexico. This film was set to focus on a gay romance in the 1930s and co-starred Danny Ramirez. Supposedly, the actor, Phoenix here, got cold feet as the film was expected to be rated NC-17 and feature a relationship that will, quote, challenge audiences. However, this was after, you know, sets had been built, and now that the crew's out of work and stakeholders need to be paid, losses could exceed 7 figures. What really complicates all of this is Phoenix's exit is rumored to be about the graphic nature of the film's sex scenes. But it was Phoenix who himself brought the project and the NC-17 concept to Haynes in the first place. So this was his idea. This was his pitch.
Yeah.
This was his movie.
He totally got cold feet, man. He totally got cold feet.
Yeah, so he had this idea. He brought it to somebody. They did all this planning, all this work, all this, you know, spent all this money, got a crew together. They were ready to go. They're like, I'm out. And there's like a lot, because it's like, it's his project. It's, I mean, a lot of financing was probably based on him starring in this, you know, him being a bankable actor. It's like, they can't replace him. And also with 5 days to go, it's like, we got a shoot to do. Like it's
Yeah.
time. Like
Yeah.
so this is pretty wild. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this one, Kyle?
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, do they have the option to sue him? Like you signed a contract. This is how much money we're gonna lose. I bet he probably could be sued if he signed anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is wild. I mean, I know on smaller shoots, with these things, they're packaging based on Joaquin Phoenix is going to be there, right? But on smaller things, even like some TV shows, they'll have somebody secondary at the ready. So maybe that'll become more of like a thing in the future of like maybe these big pictures. What is somebody secondarily we might be able to get? But it's hard when the guy that helped create it is the one dipping from the thing. It's just like, how do you reconcile this at all? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of outrage right now in Hollywood with it, with studio execs and producers. There's, yeah, talk of legal action. There's some producers, according to this Hollywood Reporter article, are discussing blackballing the actor, but no, it's not really realistic because, you know, given how bankable he is, given how Joker 2 is going to be a huge hit, it's like he has the cachet. Like he
Mm-hmm.
will keep getting work. You can't not give him work because of this. I mean, if he does it more and more and more and more into
Mm-hmm.
bigger and bigger projects, maybe. But like many expect, if there is any legal action or bad press that comes out of it, he will probably just settle. He has the money, whatever it is. It's like he probably got so much millions of dollars from Joker 2 that it's like, all right, here you go, crew. Like, here's
Yeah.
maybe, something
What's
for
crazy to me is like they've worked together before, so it feels weird that he would do this to feel like somebody
yeah.
that you're kind of close with if you've worked with them a bunch and want to work with them again to just hang them out to dry. And are they going to be doing press together? Because Todd Haynes made Joker 2, right?
Oh no, that's Todd Phillips.
Todd Phillips,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. But
Excuse me.
but I mean there's been plenty of stuff like in the like I saw something where he, for Napoleon, he almost walked out of that, but he wanted Thomas Anderson to come in and do rewrites. So they accommodated that. There's been even with Joker, as you were saying with Todd Phillips, like there was talks that he might like, you know, cold feet and not show up to that first one. But then he ended up doing it. Like, so I guess he is kind of, self-conscious and like,
Yeah, it
really
sounds like
nervous and anxiety and stuff. But like when there's millions and millions of
millions of
dollars on the
dollars.
ball,
Yeah.
like that's and a lot of people's jobs at risk.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, and like with the Joker 2 press tour coming up, I mean, he will
I
get asked
know.
about this.
Yeah.
Like this will
I was
come
just
up.
thinking that.
So we'll have to see how plays out. But all right, we're talking about some movies. And there's a movie I want to actually talk about. A trailer came out for since we've been off. In order to talk about the trailer, let's go to some coming attractions.
Here are some exciting coming attractions.
All right. We are going to talk about Saturday Night. It's going to drop on October 11th. And this film, directed by Jason Reitman, is set in 1975. And it chronicles the events leading up to the premiere of Saturday Night, later known as Saturday Night Live. We got a very interesting kind of time period piece here to celebrate the 50th anniversary coming up, the 50th season of Saturday Night Live. We all saw the trailer of this. Kyle, start me off. What did you think of the trailer for Saturday Night?
I thought it looked cool. I thought it built the tension with them spelling it out, cutting to black and stuff like that. Um, the watching the whole thing, you realize what like 60s and 70s TV was just like trying to figure it out, Now it's like a science, like everything works to this, but back then they were just trying new things. And so I'm interested to see how that dynamic works. I'm gonna guess that they're gonna cut back in time because it chronicle the day and then
Yeah.
cut back in time because from some of the sequences in there, it's like, how could this be the day of,
Yeah, there's because one of the things that like they've been billing this as is kind of like it's like in real time. Like it's like a
Mm,
90-minute movie in real time, like leading up to like that 90 minutes before the
yeah,
live from New York. It's Saturday
Yeah.
night. But like there's a lot of stuff with this where it's like whether it's all the rehearsals, the figuring out the show, maybe the casting, but even just like I think people saw in the trailers, it's like, well, that skit was from like 3 weeks later. It's like, are you just gonna hodgepodge this all
Yeah.
together and
Yeah.
put it in this like 90-minute thing? Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I thought it looked cool. I'm interested in the material. Funny to see knowing what we know about like Lorne Michaels, and I think I read the Saturday Night Live book, but
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see how Lorne Michaels is portrayed and stuff like that, right? Because is he there at that time?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the
Yeah,
character
that's
right
it.
there. That's
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even looking at him, I'm like, he doesn't necessarily look like him to me, so it's like
Yeah.
throwing me off a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see like how much like uh I don't know if this is a Universal film. I'll have to double check, but like if like, Lorne had
Any say.
anything to do with this because like I mean, I'll just say, John Mulaney went on Seth Meyers the other day and talking about this film, he was clearly making fun of it. Like the idea that it was like, oh, I heard like, I guess it was a little crazy, behind the scenes at SNL, and like he like goes to read like a page from it and it's like I am Lorne Michaels and I'm going to make a show on Saturday Night Live. Get me to the Rockefeller Center. And it was very like, playing around with it.
Like
But
tongue in cheek
yeah, it
kind of
was,
thing. Yeah.
but I guess it says production companies SNL Studios. So I guess he is sort of involved with it. But I'm just very intrigued. Obviously, I'm a big like SNL TV history fan. And it has like it's billed as like a comedy thriller, almost like an Uncut Gems, where
Mhm.
it's like the nerve-wracking thing. And there is a little bit, I definitely hear a bit of like Aaron Sorkin in there,
Mhm.
and like the kind of like comedy's important, comedy's everything, comedy sets the tone for America. It's like, all right,
like
relax.
yeah, the
It's like that Studio
overindulgence.
60
Yeah.
thing, and that didn't work because you can't do this stuff like self-serious. Like it can't be like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like Lorne Michaels, this young white guy in television. Yeah, the cards are stacked against you, huh? And it's like the stakes are so low with this. It's live comedy on a Saturday that nobody's watching. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, cancer research or like a, life and death surgery, but it's like
Yeah.
also it's like, you know, we know the outcome. Like, well, that broadcast and the thousands of others since then in the last 50 years have worked. So, like, but again, with all that being said, I'm very intrigued by this. You got the cast with a lot of up and comers. Gabriel LaBelle from The Fabelmans is Lorne. Dylan O'Brien, Rachel Sennett, Finn Wolfhard, Cooper
Mm-hmm.
Hoffman from Licorice Pizza. A lot of people in there. John,
Mm-hmm.
I realize I've been ranting and raving here. Your thoughts on the trailer and the cast and everything with Saturday Night?
Yeah, it looks interesting. I'll probably give it a peek to see. I don't think I have my Saturday Night Live lore down as well as you guys might, but I mean, it's interesting to see the origins of stuff that I'm familiar with, so I'll probably give it a peek.
Yeah. And you look at like some of the adults in the film, like playing the executives and stuff like that. Willem Dafoe, J.K. Simmons is in this. Matthew Rhys is George Carlin, the episode's first host.
That's
that was a
funny.
surprise. And
Yeah.
the one I'm like the most like unsure about of all of them, all the real life to actor counterparts, is cousin Greg, Nicholas Braun. He's
Oh, yeah.
he's doing double duty in this. Not only is
Okay.
he Jim Henson, he's also Andy Kaufman.
Okay.
So that kind of does feel like an Andy Kaufman thing that would happen.
Yeah.
But like I just don't know
I
if
wonder how they're gonna
see
pull
it.
that off. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I guess like Benny Safdie was initially going to be Andy Kaufman, but then due to scheduling conflicts, he had to drop out. But then so
Mm.
like it wasn't like the plan, I think, to have one actor play two people, but they're going with it. And
Okay.
um,
Interesting. I'm gonna be interested to see how they pull that off.
yeah. Yeah. So and I don't know. It's just really hard to like not see cousin Greg like that, like
Yeah.
energy and that vibe. And it's just maybe it could work for Kaufman, but I don't know. And I guess I don't know too much about Jim Henson, but I feel like there's a little bit more confidence in there. But like, I'm just going off the trailer. I
But
gotta wait,
also, he's just a huge dude.
Yeah.
It's hard to like
Yeah.
play him up as, he's
Yeah.
just a massive dude.
Yeah. But all right.
But
it's
I'm
gonna-
interested to see. I'm interested to see how they write this, how they go about this.
yeah. It's dropping on October 11th, which I believe is like it's gonna be the 49th anniversary, even though it's the start of the 50th season
Okay.
of the show. So because it came out in 75. So yeah, all right. We'll have to wait and see. And maybe who knows if it catches any awards prospects, as like those Hollywood celebrating Hollywood type things.
Is that what they're thinking for that type of movie?
You never know with these type of, films. At
Because
least,
I feel like it could go either way.
it could go either way. It could be like a complete but like you could tell by the trailer, like it's trying to set up it as an Aaron Sorkin type thing, like to set the film in real time, Jason Reitman. It's like you have like that whole like self-serious like production design,
Sure.
like
Yeah.
it's a fall release, like it's they're trying, I feel like, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna catch the world on fire, and be the Oscar Best Picture, but who knows if you get some
Who
craft
knows?
categories or something, hair and makeup and stuff like that.
Sure.
But all right, I mean, one Emmy darling is our next show we're talking about here. In order to talk about it, we have to go back, so send us back.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
Hang on. We haven't talked about my timing recently. Has it been good or bad? What are we talking here?
I'm leaving that to John.
Yeah, it's been all right. I mean, I think it's a slow improvement over time, but
After 400 some episodes, you're getting there.
Yeah, and I think we're also you're obviously on a delay from me because of Zoom, and then I'm on a delay from you because of Zoom. So you got a little bit of wiggle room in there. I fix it in post. I make
two
it simple.
delays don't make it right. Is that what
No,
it
it makes it worse.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I fix it in post. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
One of
Whatever
these
way
days,
you edit it.
John, like we're just gonna have to like pretend like it's way off. Like we're just like we'll do the segment. We're waiting. We hear the music, and then we're just like, oh, there you go, Kyle. And we just pretend like it's been like 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're talking about House of the Dragon, season 2, the finale, which aired a couple weeks ago, August 4th. The Queen, whoever was. I mentioned this as an Emmy's darling. Technically, I don't think it's won a main Emmy yet, but the flagship show, Game of Thrones, won plenty back in the day. And who knows, with just a few seasons left, maybe this show can finally do it. But I don't know for season 2, because season 2, battle lines are drawn again, as both sides are ready to battle again, which will all lead up to another season where we finally get the battle. Hopefully. Like The Bear season 3, this really felt like another filler season to me. One thing, at least for The Bear, that comes out every year. I waited 2 years for this, and we'll be waiting at least another 2 years, probably at least, for season 3. And I read somewhere like that this season covered like 30 pages of the book or something like that. Meanwhile, season 1 covered like 3 times that.
Oh
So it's just like,
gosh.
I don't know. To me, I'll let you guys go off, but like I feel like the first half, lots of promise. Really like King Aegon. He's not evil, but he's not good either.
He's
He's
a
not good at his
buffoon.
job. I like the character, brought some, comedic timing, great. We saw so much of Team Green. Like, is there even enough of Team Black to even show? But we got the twin battle with almost with Rhaenyra nearly dying over these two twins, faking each other out, who's who, and trying to sneak into the castle. You got the killing of King Aegon's child. You got all these like moments in that first half. And I feel like after that climactic dragon battle in episode 4, we just stopped down. It was just snail pace for those 4 episodes. And those last 4 were really tough. I feel like it could have been an email. Kyle, are you with me on this one? Like, how did you think of season 2?
I am in agreement probably with you. Though I will say I do enjoy the world. I like being in it. I like everything that they're building up to, but I feel like the payoff has to be more. And I know people are like, well, they did it right to the books, you know? And it's just like, but you got to give us something. You got to give the audience something. And it just felt like we're going into next season with information that we pretty much probably already had. Because we have Rhaenyra meeting, the queen multiple times. It's the same information. Like, let's get this show on the road. Yeah. So I'm in agreement with you there, but I do enjoy the world. I like being in it. Just give us something more. Come on.
Yeah, speaking of scenes like we've had multiple times, I feel like most of the season we were like looking for someone to ride dragons. Like who's the dragon riders?
Oh
We
my,
need some new
yeah.
ones. And 2 episodes in a row, it's like the same setup. All right, we got this group here. All right, who can do it? Guess what? None of them can, and they're all burned to death. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like
But
it's the same
but
thing. And then like the two it ended up being, it was so telegraphed for weeks.
yes, I
It's
know
like,
that was so annoying.
yes.
It was so annoying. I'm like, all of a sudden we're in some episode and we're in a pub with some random dude. And I'm like, have we been introduced to this dude at all? Why do I care what's happening here? And I think to me, it was just to set up the stuff with Rhaenyra and the other girl to be like, look, the townspeople are changing. And so we cut to townspeople. Hey, we don't like it anymore. It was just all that kind of stuff going on. But I'm like, what are we doing with these people? Who are they? Why do we care about them? So when I see them almost get like eaten by the dragon, initially I'm like, do it, please.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, John. I know you just caught up real quick, just very recently. What's fresh with you about this season? Are you in agreement, or is it
Oh yeah.
different on a binge release?
I'm definitely in agreement, and like Kyle said before, people are saying, oh, they did it right to the books, but the issue with that is you turn the page, you're on to the next thing.
Mm.
There's no next DVD to pop in, no next video to queue up. It's gonna be 2 years to do that. So yeah, if they were releasing 2 and 3 back to back, and there was a week's gap between them, sure, do it by the books. But if you're gonna extend, like you said, this second half of the season to be basically almost a time loop every episode where we see the same people, someone gets eaten, blah blah blah, like what's the point except to try and pad this out? And if we've seen anything from the first Game of Thrones, like, don't mess with anything, like do a proper show. Like that got absolutely torched at the end. Why would you even like head in a direction that makes people think, oh, I'm not enjoying this? Like, this is your chance to redeem yourself. In my opinion, you started off on a kind of foot with, all the time jumping and all that. It was hard to follow. Like, keep your audience, man. Like, please.
I think as you were saying, like, yeah, like with the time jump, and obviously, I mean, they still are doing it between seasons, sometimes between
Yeah.
episodes. Characters get replaced with new actors. I mean, I think all of Rhaenyra's kids are super bland and boring and interchangeable. And it's like I'm having a hard time connecting with lots of these characters because we've only seen like so
Mhm.
little of them,
Yeah.
whether it's even the actor playing that character or just the
Mhm.
character in general. Like they're just so like nothing. And if they are, maybe they're like, oh, that's this, show's version of Littlefinger or of,
Mhm.
Daenerys, or like it's just
Mhm.
like give me something new, different,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
exciting. It's just like it's a copy, and it just feels like when it's a copy of a copy, it becomes very bland and washed out. And even like Kristen Cole, like who I absolutely hate. I think he's like the worst because he's like he's just so, I don't know what the word is. Like I know it's the point, but he is so like hypocritical of
Yeah.
just like
Mhm. Mhm.
honor and blah, 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 blah. And then it's
Yeah.
like, well, you're doing this, but it's just, and of course I know that's the point.
But I'm
But
not
even like
proud
with
of it.
him, like he had a character trait. At least, hey, he was hot, he was cool. But then he gets like this haircut, and now he's who's this guy? Like you really thought that was a good idea? Like you're ruining like that. It's like
Uh-huh.
I feel like if you had Jon Snow and he's known for this like long, hair and the beard and stuff. He's like, he comes in like clean shaven and like a buzz cut. You'd be like, you just ruined this character. This is the Felicity issue with Kerry Russell back in the day, but
Oh my
I don't
God.
know. Uh,
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
but I don't know. It's just like, yeah, like Rhaenyra, yeah,
I
she
mean,
wants to battle, but she's not allowed to because she's the queen. It's like every episode again and
yeah.
again. And it's like one thing, like again, I really was into that first half of the season. I really thought there was momentum. There was like a big moment, whether it was like, yeah, like one of King Aegon's kids, dying at the end, the twin battle, the dragon battle. There was something. There was something big. There was
Mhm.
something like the story was moving forward. We were at this pace. And then like after having that and like this marathon, and it was like, all right, it's a cool down period. We're gonna have 4 episodes of just the same thing, leading up
Yeah.
to a battle, which you're not gonna get this season, which we've been
Yeah.
teasing since season 1.
Yeah. That was the other thing. They made it seem like we would be left off with this big battle, but that didn't happen. I mean, we saw Matt Smith's character being like tortured by the castle for
Again
3
and
episodes.
again.
Well, I mean, we saw the girl chasing after her dragon for 2 or 3 episodes. I thought they would make that a quicker transition. It was like, no, she's still setting out on
still
foot trying
hunting.
to find that dragon, that loose dragon. But it's
I also like there was like this one dragon, like it's like just like on the side of the road. It's like, it's like,
yeah,
you know, oh, it's
lost.
I-5, here,
Yeah.
take this
Yeah.
exit and you can just be next to this dragon who just sleeps out here. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, you bring
And
up
that pe
Damon. It's wild because like he is like I feel like season one's like kind of like MVP or most of these most interesting character.
Mhm.
And what did they do this season? They separated him from the entire cast.
Yeah. Yeah.
They made him do his own thing and have these like nightmare visions every
Yeah.
episode. And it's just like we want him playing with, other characters, working off of
Yeah.
them, interacting. It's like nope.
Yeah.
But
Also, I didn't know if they were just trying to pull a fast one and he was always going to come back to Rhaenyra, but like that transition to him just being like, "Oh, I'm now definitely back on your side because of like a vision he had, right?
hmm,
Like a
yeah,
vision, and he was
Yeah,
like,
one of
"Oh,
the
we gotta
nightmares.
get back
and
on her side."
he touched the tree of
Yeah,
life or whatever that is, and
All right.
you pretty much watched Game of Thrones. Like
yeah, I know, yeah.
you binge watched the series. But um But yeah, like so like this finale that we got,
Ugh,
it sets it all up at the very end. We get this like kind of like next season on montage, this
Yeah.
tease within the episode of what's to come. And I really
mhm.
think a better ending would have been if we had to end early or at a different point in the season. I think a better ending would have actually been the week before when
Mhm.
when Aemond is on his dragon and he gets near Dragonstone, but then he like quickly retreats and he sees Rhaenyra there with 3 dragons. He's like,
Yeah,
oh crap, that's
yeah.
building. And it becomes like, oh, this moment. Instead, it was like you had this moment, and it's like, all right, now we're gonna do another episode where we the biggest action sequence in this one will be some mud wrestling.
Dude,
It's
that
like,
encapsulated the whole finale for me because that happened around. I thought there was a battle coming, and maybe that was bad expectation on my end. Okay. So we get to the mud wrestling part, or they're discussing it, and it's 9:30. I'm like, what is happening? There's got to be coming. This can't be a 90-minute episode. I just couldn't believe how far we were. And then it just felt like that whole scene was going nowhere. Like it could have been,
yeah.
I don't know. I just was not interested in that storyline, and I wanted to move along to something cooler that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, not till 2 years from now at the very least.
Yeah.
And supposedly this is, what we're hearing like afterwards, with some of the articles that have come out since then, that this might have been because of some budget and strike issues. Like,
Mm,
so they continued to film season 2 through the strikes last year. They got an exemption because of local union rules, with the Screen Actors Guild, mostly a US branch. I mean, we're overseas, different actors, different unions. But 2 episodes were possibly cut, and maybe due to the WGA strike and maybe some budgeting. So any big battle at the end of season 2 was probably pushed to season 3. But then I wonder, well, if season 3 was already mapped out, is that going to push whatever the climax of season 3 is to season 4?
mm.
I mean, like we at least know at this point we're getting 2 seasons. It's been renewed for the fourth and final season. So we're gonna get season 3 and season 4. But like, what does that mean with these cutting these 2 episodes from this? Because first season was 10, this was 8. So like, how does that whole map out? Are some going to be really fast paced, like that the final season of Game of Thrones, where a lot of people had
Mhm.
issues where it's like, where did this come from? Where was this
Yeah.
build up?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be spread out more? Like it's I don't know. And I just think there's definitely some budget stuff because like even I noticed when Aemond is returning from like burning down the city, we see the aftermath from like afar. We see none of
Mhm.
the burning. You know, it's
Yeah.
probably too expensive for dragons as it is, to be
Mhm.
characters all the time in this show. It's like we can't also show them burning down a village and we can't show this. It's like it's just
Mhm.
like I don't know. I just think hopefully they'll be able to finish their story as we've seen with Warner Brothers Discovery. Like that recent article I know I sent you guys that it said where it's like its TV channels are worth 9 billion less than they thought they were. They're
Oh
like
my
evaluate. Remember it was
God.
9
Yeah.
billion
Yeah.
with a B.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just
That's wild.
yeah. So hopefully we at least get the final 2 seasons of House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
But man, I feel like it was such like a filler. Like it was a half a season. It was first half I really enjoyed. The second half it was tougher.
Yeah. Completely agree. I'm still in it though. I'm not
Yeah.
giving up yet. I'm hoping it comes back around.
We better start season 3 with the battle. We better get right to it.
Get us in the mix, please.
Can you
Yes.
imagine if it's like another 8 episodes and we get like the start of the battle at the end of
Yeah.
it's like The Walking
thing
Dead. I
is-
remember with like Negan, where it was like they said that Negan's coming, or you're gonna find out who dies from Negan, and like it was like you watch like the whole season, and you finally get to it, and then the scene like about the bat, it cuts to black, and then
Oh
you had to
my
wait like a whole
God.
other whatever it was season 7 premiere, and then they and it's like oh my God, just like you're just stretching us to get us to
Yeah.
watch the next
Yeah.
one. Just tell us
Yeah.
the story. But,
Yeah. Oh
Um,
man.
All right. Well, that is House of the Dragon. That's season 2. We'll see when that comes out in 2 years or 3 years or whatever it turns out to be. They just need to be shooting this. They should know. All right, like I
We
have
gotta move
season
it
3
along.
scripts going
Yeah.
while they're filming season 3. Maybe start planning season 4. Like
Because you gotta imagine they've got to
Yeah.
have a pretty good idea that they're gonna get picked up, especially with how much
Yeah.
money's being dumped into it. It's like, just think of it at a time. What are we doing here?
yeah. Oh boy. Well, all right. One show on HBO ended and another one has begun. Industry season 3. Now, technically, there's 2 episodes we're going to be talking about. The premiere last
Mhm.
week, August 11th, and Smoke and Mirrors, which was just last night on August 18th. Now, we're following the events of season 2 and that finale, where Harper is no longer at Pierpoint and instead working as an executive assistant at Future Dawn Partners. Meanwhile, Yasmin is caught in the tabloids as her father, who is wanted for embezzling, is now missing, and she is seemingly on yachts, still partying it up. We also have a Game of Thrones actor that we'll talk about a bit joining the cast with Kit Harington in season 3. But let's just start off. Let's start off with John. What did you think of the first bit of Industry season 3?
Yeah. I thought it was good. I think them having such a long time between seasons is not helping them so much. I remember before starting up, I was like, "What happened last season?" And and on top of that, it seemed like there's a little bit of time jump between the seasons, maybe a year or so. I don't even know. I don't know if they specify, but obviously enough time where like apparently they're all living together again. Like I didn't know that, and people are back working at Pierpoint, some people aren't. It's like, oh, okay, we're almost not starting anew, but like it was very different. So that was a little jarring. Even their recap didn't really seem to dive too deep into that. But I think despite all that and the maybe a little bit of confusion getting back into things, it was still a good premiere and season 2. It jumped right back into the kind of the feel they had left off with from what I can remember. So yeah, I think it was doing all right.
Yeah, for me, I had to watch. Initially, I was just gonna watch the season 2 finale to get like back into the world, and I'm watching. I'm like, what the hell happened in this season? It's been 2 years. I don't remember half of this stuff. And then after that, I watched like a whatever 10-minute like recap of season 2, which definitely helped. Just even starting up front, like I don't know the exact details of everything in industry, but also like what they are also doing day to day. I don't understand half of it as well, but I'm here for vibes. And I think it was like a really good start to the season. Fast pace, pulsating music. It's like almost
Yeah.
there's again to compare it to that Saturday Night thing, like the uncut gems of like the anxiety. Like I felt
Yeah.
these like 2 episodes, especially the Smoke and Mirrors episode, really moved compared to House of the Dragon. Like I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
we were really going through a lot of story, a lot of setup. We were really moving through the show, and
Yeah.
we got a lot to talk about with all these characters. But before we get there, Kyle, overall thoughts on the season or the first 2 episodes so far?
I like this show. I'm
Yeah.
into it, man. I'm here for the vibes as well. Um, all these characters are bad people in their own way, but they're
Yep.
deeply flawed, so you can relate to it a little bit. I'm here for all the
Succession
characters.
Junior.
Yeah, yeah. I'm here for all the characters. Yeah, I like it. I like it, even though some of it's like so implausible, like Robert becoming this Kit Harrington's like manager. It's like this is not what
Hmm.
investment bankers do. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
okay, whatever. I'm down for it. I think it's cool. I want to talk about the characters, so
Yeah.
yeah,
I want to start off with Yasmin.
yeah,
I feel like because she's really like I think the star of these first 2 episodes. I
yeah.
mean, maybe if you'd say like Harper was the main character of the
Mm,
show, she's kind of taken a back seat so far,
mm-hmm.
and it's a lot about Yasmin. Yasmin is now under Eric. Um, the first night, that they joined up together, they're off partying, doing coke together, um, and now they share this kind of like bond, but like. I don't think that's good,
Yeah.
because he fired
No.
someone who saw a different side of him as he tried, getting sober and, going through a tough time and stuff like that. He fired that
Mm-hmm.
person, saw him as weak, maybe, saw him as not the strong leader that he is. Well, Yasmin saw a side of him and was doing, drugs and illegal stuff with him. So it's like not a good spot to start off the relationship with here.
Yeah. But I mean, also, I'm worried for Yasmin. I think Yasmin's in a world of trouble, not only at her office with Eric, who's like a prime villain,
Yeah.
and now she's dealing with the tabloids, which
Yeah.
are going after her because her dad owes a bunch of money and is a criminal and screwed these people over. And to me, I got the implication that this guy was saying, like, Yasmin, you're going to be the collateral for like your father's, payments. And
Yep.
so not only because when we first saw Yasmin in season 1, like she was using her
Yeah.
body as a means to like kind of like get ahead, or like she knew what she was working with, but now I don't think she's like that anymore. She's trying to make a turn, and now like vultures and wolverines, like people are like that's all they see in
Yeah.
her, and she wants to cut ties with that. And it's so, dude,
Yeah.
it's not a good vibe for her
I
in this
say,
season.
I think she's trying to, but then falling back into some of her old ways, at least
Yeah.
with Jon Snow, with Henry Muck,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
CEO of this
Mhm.
green tech energy company here. I mean, first of all, so she had to perform a bit of the smoke and mirrors herself to get kind of the opening IPO for their company to do a
yeah.
bit better
Hmm.
after the day starts off with a power company having the power go out across the city. Not a good start
Yeah.
to that company. But she uses like the paparazzi, as you were saying, like who's chasing her around to stage a photo with the CEO, her and some
Hmm.
big investors all being caught together. Hey, this looks pretty good. They're shaking hands, good
Mhm.
spot for the
Mhm.
company, nothing to worry about. Then Eric points out, hey, that's market manipulation. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
in these photos now. That doesn't look good. And Henry's, helping her, getting this bad photo, the yacht photo looked like she was partying, but we kind of see from flashbacks she wasn't exactly like doing exactly what the photos make it
Not
seem.
quite, no.
But there's some start of some maybe dominant, submissive relationship between
Yeah.
the two of them. Be very curious to where this goes because we know from the first season with her and with Robert, there was kind of a bit of that,
Yeah.
relationship going on as well. So we'll see if it happens here because it is like it was like a good. I feel like actually doing these two episodes together because the premiere starts and this episode, the second episode ends with the yacht like kind of flashback. So it kind of brought together, these two things and the episode ends, the second episode, with her realizing like she may need more from Henry. I think, people are still taking photos of her as she drinks wine on the bus, to drown her sorrows, but hey, this may look differently. She has a very rare, very expensive bottle of wine that she's just drinking from the bottle on public transportation here, going crazy. But yeah, it's a very tricky mess she's in.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the whole submissive thing is kind of what links Henry and Robert together in some weird way. That's probably why they get uh, along, I guess, so well. And even after like they yell at each other, beat each other up, then they're, like, oh, sorry, I went too far, that kind of thing. And then they're like buddies again. But it's he has the death of the
Yeah.
woman that he's with,
Oh,
so
he
he's
loses
dealing
a
with
client.
I don't know if he's
yeah,
with
He
her.
loses a
He's
client.
loses a client, yeah. So yeah, it's I feel bad for Robert. He's got bad demons, but the worst part is he has this what seems to be like genuine love from this other person. He just has no capacity to give it to her. So it's just like, oh man, this guy's in a bad place right
Yeah,
now.
he's having a really bad couple of weeks or whatever it is in the time frame in the show. Yeah, physically fighting uh the person you're supposed to be managing in a ball pit, it's just
Yeah.
not looking good on the launch of the IPO for that company. What a mess. But someone also who's not doing too well is Harper.
Yeah.
Um, obviously at the end of season two, the firm Pierpoint found out that she never actually graduated from Binghamton University of all places. That's where
Yep.
her bachelor's was from. So she had to leave Pierpoint. She's at this other management group, and she's in the EA role, and she has to do a bit of smoke and mirrors herself. She uses a bit of the Pierpoint playbook against them to help Sarah Goldberg's from Barry, Petra, uh, on like maybe buying stock in an oil company to go against the green company that Henry is, owning and not doing too well. And so it's like, all right, let's make some money here. Uses her kind of inside knowledge of Pierpoint, does well for her, but Petra's not too happy with her. I mean, it's like we don't need to cheat. You shouldn't be gleaming from this. And yeah, I also know that you didn't graduate from school, so it's just like
But
she's trying to get out of it, but then is also like kicked down. But
yeah.
then it's like it's just
Yeah, because I think this is also a power play by
yeah.
Sarah Goldberg's character of like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what I know about you. And it's the whole Eric thing. It's like they like the money coming in, but not necessarily the way, but they'll turn a blind eye and then reprimand you for doing it. But inside, everyone knows that as long as the money's coming in, they don't really care. But it's just, yeah, it's all a power play.
Yeah.
But I like Sarah Goldberg's character.
Yeah, no, I think yeah. So far, I've been really into uh her and Kit Harington. I think he's doing a very good job. Where I don't see Jon Snow. I
Yeah.
really see a different character that he's put together here with Henry Muck. So I'm curious to see how the rest of the season goes. Curious to see if Harper makes her way back to Pierpoint or to Eric or that confrontation. Um,
Yeah. It's kind
and
of sad that Harper isn't in it as much because that made for a good dynamic.
yeah,
But I like the other storylines. So I think they do a good job of having quite a few storylines that are pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not like one where it's like, oh, this one again.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's every one is very, interesting and they all seemingly connect at different points. When I realized I guess is Gus out? Remember Gus from
Yeah.
Yeah.
No mention of him yet.
yeah, so I don't know if he's
Yeah.
completely gone. I know 'cause season 2 he was tutoring
Under
what's
like the
I'm forgetting
the
his
would-be
name, the
prime
Duplass
minister.
brother,
Oh yeah.
big but then I think he was with a political
Yeah.
person, but because of the whole thing with some insider trading that info that
Mm,
gave to Harper, lost that job. So I don't know
yeah.
exactly what he's up to if he's still in this world, but I don't
And it's
know.
also important to point out that Harper and Yasmin are still like frenemies
Yeah.
because she brings her around to places and clearly they talk, but then they weaponize that
Yeah.
information. And that in that second episode where Sarah Goldberg is saying like to her boss, like, you initiated this friendship. Did I want this friendship? I guess it could be applied to them as well,
Mhm.
Harper and Yasmin, because it's like they they were helped each other out during traumatic moments, but not necessarily in like any true meaning of friendship. It was also all bound in trauma.
Yeah, and we'll have to see like, this frenemy relationship, how it does, where clearly Harper, has this connection with Eric, her old boss, but
Hmm.
now Yasmin is the new Harper
Hmm.
and has this connection with Eric. And Eric has his own set of issues between getting
Hmm.
this promotion, being told he has, act this leader, cut some bodies, do this thing. And, he does one, and then, his boss is like, wait, we're
What the
understaffed and you
hell?
cut somebody on the day
Yeah.
of the
Yeah. It
IPO? Like,
makes
what are you,
no sense.
crazy? So it's just like everyone is just being pushed to the limit here. And, if these are just the first 2 episodes, I'm really curious to see how the rest of the season unfolds and how, crazy it gets. But
There's two things. There's just two things I
yeah.
want to mention. Final things. The Gen Z in the workforce
Oh, yeah.
character that they have is just so one
What is it,
note.
like Sweet
And
Pea or
Mhm.
something?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's so ridiculous. But funny, but it's just like a one note thing. And also I also feel bad for like Rishi,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
because all he does is yell.
Yeah.
All he does is
He's always pissed off.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
always just yelling and angry that whatever is not going the way he wants. It's all every time. That's all he does.
It's like it's also like, it's like I don't know what exactly his job is, but then he's like, if anyone else needs anything else from me, you guys could all have fun. It's like, hey, if you're the middleman here trying to make these sales, they're gonna need to talk to you to make a sale. So like,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, but deal with it. Like that's your job. But
yeah.
he's constantly just angry with it. But oh man. I'm definitely in, and it sounds like we're all also
Oh
in
yeah.
on industry. So we'll have to, maybe check back in at the finale in the next month or two, whenever that winds up airing on HBO and on Max and whatever the next one is called. We'll see. We'll see if they rebrand. But all right, that is it for this week. We are going to be back after Labor Day with our annual Emmy predictions. It's hard to believe we did the Emmys once. We already predicted the Emmys once this calendar year. We're gonna do it again
Hmm.
in September. And then, we're just about a month left before we have to settle up on the summer box office draft. So we're gonna talk about some summer movies, the box office for that. So a busy September on the podcast. Make sure you are following us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doredundancy.com. On Twitch, twitch.tv/doredundancy. We are live there and on YouTube at the same time. And make sure you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at doredundancy. Find out exactly when we are live on Twitch and on YouTube. I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight. John directing the show, putting it up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube. I couldn't do it without you guys.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.